Maritza Lopez. I'm actually with East Chicago Calumet Coalition,
Okay.
and also I'm with We the People for East Chicago. Well, both of them actually. East Chicago Calumet Coalition is primary. It's a community advisory group. We are
Okay.
affiliated with the EPA, and the purpose of that organization is made up of the residents who live within the Superfund site. And the purpose of that organization is the residents themselves have the power, the voice, and the strength to state what's going on with them and make demands. And because they're the ones that are afflicted, but we not only make it towards the EPA, but also along with any federal, state, county, and local agencies, because we're the ones living with all the issues that are happening. Now, We the People for East Chicago supports also. It is began with trying to build and get the residents together for the CAG, but we also support any issue that happens throughout the city.
Okay.
Reason we're talking today has to do with all the lead, arsenic, PAH contamination, not only in the soil, but come to find out doing the Superfund site, the reason being that they did the pilot program because the residents here rised up and started complaining since August and really blew up on September 24th at the meeting at Riley Park with them. They did a pilot program. They found that the water's contaminated. So it's in the air, the soil, groundwater, every way possible. So that's why we're here today, because it is lead, arsenic, PAHs, cadmium, everything possible that you could think of. You know, because the priority is lead because of USS Lead smelter, but they're not mentioning we have DuPont over here that let out other contaminants, the arsenic. It's just so much that's going on. It's 40 plus years.
Yeah.
And we're on a water table, so it's coming up. That's true. That's true. It's 40 plus years. After looking at certain FOIA records and studying itself, and believe it or not, I have to say I call this a Pompeii effect, me personally as a resident here. It's just the upsetting part is there was no preparation for us.
Right.
We weren't informed of it.
No.
If we knew any inkling of it, the few residents, it was, oh no, it's fine, we could take care of it. There's nothing to worry about. You know, there's, no awareness whatsoever, no information whatsoever. And come to find out, it's a lot worse than what we expected. Actually, I had just finished buying my home, this home, after my mom passed away, because it came out least expensive for me to purchase the home than to move into an apartment because I have service dogs. And I live on Social Security.
Okay.
So my means, the only way that I could actually survive and not be homeless was to purchase the home. So what ended up happening, I did that. I closed on my house on June of 2012.
Okay.
And I received a card from EPA in July of 2012 to go to a public hearing. And I go at the library and in the harbor, and they are explaining how it's contaminated, the soil, but it's cleanable.
Okay.
You know, lead and arsenic, and no problem whatsoever. You're not going to be affected. Now, that was back then. So nothing. Then they had another meeting in 2014 about their consent decree, because they had to first go to court, get the money, against the responsible parties. It was just delay after delay after delay. So, of course we're not going to be concerned.
Right. So,
It is true. It's the impression has always been very minor, and unfortunately, after I'm going to say this very clear. I'm grateful to what the mayor did for West Calumet, blowing that open, not what he is doing. And I'm going to say this very clear for the residents. Because if it wasn't for him, for blowing that horn against EPA and stating that the lead levels are over 90,000 parts per billion, if that would have been here in my house, I would have been thanking him if they would have found that.
Yeah.
If he would not have done that, the people would not be in an uproar. So I thank him for that. But what's being done is not being done correctly.
What?
Nothing is being done. I feel that nothing's being done correctly after that, because at that time he called it right. He stopped EPA right then and there, and I congratulate him for doing that, because to go against the federal agency without the acknowledgement, I applaud him for doing that. I really do, as a resident here, because that's what caused people to open their eyes.
Right.
But unfortunately, because the responsible parties divided the Superfund site for the cost as to what they're going to clean up, the community within the Superfund site still remained divided. So they saw it as Zone 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
And people just saw it Zone 1. And it took us a while to bring awareness, and the city just continued speaking about Zone 1. So that was the problem. It was just Zone 1 and Zone 1. And no awareness was being brought about the homeowners in Zone 2, which we are just as contaminated,
Or Zone 3.
or Zone 3.
And the zone.
And actually it was Zone 2 who bought an EPA. No, well, no.
Oh,
We
okay.
don't know what company or what, but according to EPA, and in their last open house, they did explain how that came about. The zoning was a decision made as to the responsible parties as to who was going to pay
Okay.
for the cleanup. So that's how the decision came. Yes, if you combine both of them, yes, we're over 2/3 of the population. Right now, there's 1,086 homes within zones 2 and 3 combined.
Combined.
Oh, we are now, because we're rising up.
Oh, now you.
Oh, believe you me, we are. We're rising up. We're not, we've made ourselves known, because if it wasn't for us, there wouldn't have been enough put into the state of emergency if it wasn't for the homeowners themselves rising up. So there's no. I'm very angry. Not the traditional angry person that tends to scream, yell type of person. I'm the type that tends to sit, analyze, and figure out what is the best strategic format to fight this correctly with the laws that will safeguard me and anybody else, due to the fact that, number one, as a homeowner, I got to realize, in my income, a lot of the residents here, seniors, and I'm in the same boat as they are, we do not have savings. We live on a very, very minimal monthly income. We don't have family members who could come help us. This is our safe haven. A lot of them are still in the same boat as I am, that we still have a mortgage. We've got no place to run. But it's still our home.
Yeah.
So we want to fight for our home. But we not want our home to be safe.
Absolutely.
Because they failed, and still to this date, failed to disclose to us the unsafetyness that we're in.
This isn't
This
just
is
something
decades.
that happened overnight.
This
no.
is decades. I went as far as back looking at all my parents' closing documents on the home, and nowhere is it disclosed.
And that was about how long?
They bought the house in 1974, and then my mom refinanced in 2009. So nowhere is it disclosed, and a lot of the other homeowners themselves have checked. So there's a lot of errors, to be nice, that have taken place. But if I myself as a resident am going to concentrate on the errors, then safeguarding myself, then I'm never going to be able to get out of that rut
Right.
mentally to fight. And I'm the type of person that I look at the errors like, okay, we know it took place, but what do I need to do to fight that, so, to prevent that to happen again?
Right. For future.
And to bring it right,
Yeah.
and to bring it out in the open, because there's no, I can't go back and fix it.
No.
I wish I could snap my fingers and let's go back. We can't go
No.
back, and to stay stuck on the past, we can't move forward and fix, or at present fix what's going on.
So
Yes. Very emotional. Very emotional. Because right now, you know, property values, they're way down. There's a lot of things I personally do not let what people are stating get to me, because if that's the case with all my medical conditions, I would go crazy. I would literally go crazy. It's added to my, it's added additional stress to my medical conditions. Meaning, I've sit here, I've cried. My doctors are going crazy. They're getting solutions and getting that aha moment, finding out, saying, now we understand why you've been so sick, why this happened. Now we understand this. Because they never, if they would have known years ago to test, specifically test for lead, arsenic, and PAHs, because they give the same symptoms, just like any health issue, and that I could confirm being a past EMT in the 80s, they all give headaches. All the health things, original, give headaches, stomach aches, you know, nausea, the same symptoms. So they have to, if they know this is going on, they have to give specific testing to look for it. Now, if they did not know, how are they going to look for it? So they're going
Right.
to they're treating me as if it's something else. Or they're putting in the records it's genetic, or testing medication.
Yes,
Well,
the
what
water.
in my condition, in actuality, they did find in my heavy metals test, found in my heavy metals test lead, arsenic, and cadmium in me.
And that's from the drinking water.
That's from being here. We can't confirm it is from the drinking water. There's no way. You know, now I have to get a XRF and an X-ray fluorescence done, and I have the order for that, to see if it is in my bones. Because I've lived here so long, since I was 6 months old, in Zone 3. So that's one thing medically. Medically, it's going to be hard to say it is from this.
Right.
You can't say it is from this.
But what?
In my heart, I know it is. I know it is. At my age, 53, to be disabled from so young and having all the illnesses, and having studied and being in EMT and not understanding a lot of stuff are not genetic in my family, and questioning, and now researching the effects of it, yes. As an individual, yes, but if I go, you have to be a realist, and that's what I'm saying. I have to be a realist. I'm not going to sit here and lie to myself and drive myself crazy. I have to be a realist and realize I know this is it, but I'm not going to stress myself out and keep pushing that and expect a resolve when there's no way there is going to be a resolve, when statistically, if I go to court, there is no standard to prove it is. So let it go and keep living life and trying to enjoy life the best that I can. I'm not going to let the situation control me.
No.
I'm going to control the situation. That's for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's for me.
the situation?
Oh, personally, the controlling the situation, I know I'm constantly reading, um, going back, checking records, and believe you me, I'm someone that does not like reading. I don't. Um, but I'm at a point where I need to get it a personal resolve because I question on a personal level why I lost my family so young. I lost my sister. She was 43. My baby brother, he was 44. My dad, he was only 59. And my mom died of cancer. She had cancer twice. She was the oldest one, and she was 73. Um,
And they all had cancer.
no,
Oh,
no,
no.
no. But they had the symptoms that are related to the lead, arsenic, and all of that. Just as I have them, so, and I was supposed to be the first one to go. So I question and I need answers for my personal result.
Closure.
For me, it's closure. For me, it's also is I'm not going to allow anybody else, a new family or children, go through what I have gone through. Because the physical damage, health issues, there's no way they could go back and fix it for me. I'm already damaged. Cardiangina, dyspepsia, hyperpleridemia, hypertension, PVD, coronary artery disease, arterial fibrillation, thyroid problems, severe neuropathy, fibromyalgia, myopathy, rheumatoid arthritis. I got osteoarthritis, bursitis, gastrointestinal problems, IBS, severe IBS, severe head and eye pressure, hiatal hernias. They always come out. My body makes tumors. Hearing problems. I tend to lose my hearing whenever it wants, and they don't know why. Esophagitis, gastrointestinal problems, dyspepsia, anxiety, which is common with anybody with lead, affected with lead, anxiety and depression. Severe migraines, headaches, sharp pains in the head, swelling in the forehead. I call it a horn that comes out. Loss of sight in the eyes, memory lapses, equilibrium balance problems. I just finished my chemo. I am anemic. That's another problem, severely anemic. So I just finished my light chemo and my iron infusions. And it seems like now I'm every 6 months going through that. I've been disabled since 2001. So I was 38 years old. And my body just started hemorrhaging through different orifices whenever I wanted. They never knew. And actually, my first hemorrhaging, I was 10 years old, and they believed I had aneurysm.
Oh my.
And that's why I said I started losing my teeth, just dropping out, and pieces of jawbone by the time I was 18, and they didn't know why, and I was already wearing dentures by the time I was 33. These are all symptoms of this. And I'm not the only one here that has been wearing dentures that I went to school with. In grade school, I've been wearing dentures since the 30s. This is normal for us who grew up here, And we're finding out now because we're talking to each other. The greatest symptoms, number one, is the cough. We have the cough. When it rains, like these past couple of days, we get groundwater comes up in our basements, like groundwater.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we get like a bad hacking cough. We all get that. And it's like this green mucus that comes out of us. That's number one. The other problem is we all suffer from, we all thought it was ourselves. And it's already permanent damage. It's nerve damage, the neuropathy. But it's a jerking, leg jerking, and it's bad. And it gets us where we have to all start walking. We were talking in the stairs. Um, and we're all different ages. I mean, uh, my neighbor's daughter, she's young. That I mean, she's young and she gets that too, and she's getting up the anxiety, the depressions, the like almost the asthma problem, difficulty breathing, um, the severe headaches. I mean, severe headaches, pressure in the eyes, um, almost like an arthritis, the pain in the bones. There's so many similarities that our doctors have been treating us as if you go to a doctor and it's like I'm having this and they're giving you medication as if it is arthritis. Here now being talking able to talk to each other, we're realizing, whoa, wait a minute, this caused us to come together and open up. And it's not only here. I mean, we with the CAG, with the Community Advisory Group, which is East Chicago Calumet Coalition, we have brainstorming sessions. We all sit down, and those are residents from Zone 1, which is West Calumet, Zone 2, which is Calumet, and Zone 3, which is East Calumet. We sit down, we talk the same way you and I are talking, and we are all having the same symptoms. So this is not just coincidental.
Right.
This is not just coincidental. This has actually caused us to be able to get to know each other and realize there is a common denominator in this. Well, my daily life, my disabilities are very severe. I have to sleep in the hospital bed. I have a cane. I have 2 service dogs. I look, people tell me I joke too much about it, but if I don't, I will go crazy. Because I have no one to help me other than my service dogs. I don't have family. Whew. That's the hard part. But I have to say that my dogs are my family. But I have to keep moving on, and I try not to think about it. The only safety net I do have is this, and the few neighbors that I do have, and I'm not going to allow any additional negativity. The strength that I have is to continue living my life every day when I get up. I have difficulty. I don't even know what's going to happen the next hour or even the next minute, because I could all of a sudden just not be feeling good and I'm down for the rest of the day. Yeah. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. To me, they are.
Not by blood, but
To me, they are. And my mom always had a saying. She always said, family is not the blood, but those who are there by you. And right now, for me, they are my family. Because now I have people that, even though we've become close, because this has brought where we will talk to each other and we're worried about each other, what's going on. This has allowed me to meet beautiful new people that I have never met before. And we have united to help others, which is something I always loved to do in the past. I've always been a humanitarian person. I always been a caring person for someone. So I just love the fact that, to me, I have a new family. I'm fortunate to bring us together. And I pray to God that there's a result with the resolve that we stay united.
And you say you pray to God that would be your strength, one of your strengths
That's one of my main strengths, my faith. He's never let me fall. He never has.
Did you have any other strengths that you'd like to talk about?
Okay, well, like my dad, I'm very strong and determined.
Willpower.
Yeah, my mind, my body doesn't let me. I won't let anyone, out of selfishness, come and try to destroy the community's livelihood. And right now, this is the community. And we're fighting for our livelihood. And the people are uniting. And the people are strong enough to speak. And they have been speaking. I think one of the most beautiful things that touched me on Sunday was meeting a 95-year-old woman. I mean, man. If his body would be strong, I guarantee you, he would be outside with us right now, walking with the neighbors. His spirit's very strong. But his body isn't. But there's many seniors and elderly people in this neighborhood. So we have to do this outreach. Right now we are passing out filters. The East Chicago Calumet Coalition is passing out water filters, and we have to be thankful for Project Neighbors for doing that. Out of Porter County. We've had support from Porter County, and that we have to say we're thankful for. Dr. Beth Gingrich, Elizabeth Gingrich, that's a non-for-profit her parents did. And she's getting those water filters here for the residents of the Superfund site. The hard part is, yes, they're coming in, but we wish they would come in a truckload, but they're not. But as right now we're prioritizing and we're handing them out how they're requesting out of that non-for-profit. But Porter County stepped in there. Blue Valpo is stepping in.
You say your neighbors in Porter County have so generously helped with the crisis. What would you like to say to your neighboring towns and cities and communities of your own county?
Well, as to my neighboring,
What would you like your message?
my message to my neighbors, this is a humanitarian effort, bottom line. They have to think of the possible message today for you, tomorrow possibly for me. None of us ever expected this. We thought we were safe. And let's take a good example. Munster and them with the storm back in 2009 never expected that to get flooded. And everybody stepped in and helped them with the Calumet River. With the flooding.
Yeah.
FEMA came in. They didn't expect that. This is 40 plus years happening here.
You didn't expect it.
We didn't expect it. We're losing property value. Some of us, we don't even know if we're going to lose our homes, where we're going to go.
Well, it's not even your homes or your property values, it's your lives.
Right. So, consider it a humanitarian effort the same way Porter County has. Those that are blessing us from Porter County, which is Project Neighbors and Blue Velvet. Project Neighbors with the water filters and Blue Velvet with the water initiative. So for me, I'm asking everybody to please step in. Contact us. Donate a case of water. Help us pass out water, safeguard everybody. Project Neighbors, go on their website, donate towards theirs so they could purchase water filters. I mean, any which way possible. If they want to donate time, come help pass out at the churches when we're ready to set up to hand out or deliver water to the seniors, because we got plenty of seniors who can't get out, or disabled people like myself that can't carry that. Please do that. In-kind service is key also. That anything that anybody does is very valuable to us. We're grateful. We're grateful and we're in need. So, you know, it's not that we are over-exaggerating. It isn't. We are desperately in need. And it's taken us, the residents, the same residents affected and afflicted and under the stress are the same residents who are taking the leadership in this. And I think that's what's made us stronger this time.
And a lot of people who live south in the county, their roots are East Chicago.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And they can still make a difference in
Well,
their city.
Well, see, and that's like affiliated with EPA, the CAG. EPA recognizes anyone past and present who has lived here in the Superfund site, because we need to find out if they're afflicted with any health issues from this, if they've lived here. We still haven't even touched that if they moved away. There is so much tracking that needs to be done medically. There's so much tracking. You know, and we have to say we're thankful to the legal team that came in from Chicago. I know, I think that's why I feel so at peace. If it wasn't for them, I think I would be going crazy. I would be going crazy and blowing up. I really would. I really would.
Yeah.
I think just knowing that they're there, they're stern, and they're working for us residents pro bono. And knowing I could pick up the phone and call them, even at my weakest time, just to calm me down. If I don't understand, could be the stupidest question. And they're like, no, don't worry about it, it isn't. And they explain it. That means a lot. It really means. So, I personally, as a resident, I'm very grateful that they took upon themselves to be here in support of all the residents. Because if it wasn't for them, there's a lot of things I wouldn't be understanding right now. And I think that's where a lot of my resolve is coming from. You know what I see is actually based on what has occurred so far, and I'm saying from February 9th with this declaration, the governor's initial state of declaration emergency. I see the neighborhood getting fixed. I see the homes being safeguarded. I do see that. Us, the residents, made sure in the CAG that we did answer back. We were not happy with some of the stuff that the city put in response that the governor wanted.
What were some of the things?
Well, some of the things were, they did talk to us. They asked some of the things that the residents wanted for Calumet and East Calumet. So we have put in like sump pumps, stuff like that, because they had a lot of things for West Calumet. But they included like having their legal bills paid. That's not part of the Superfund site. And some other things. So we did answer back, and we said we let the governor know no, that's not part of the Superfund. So, the state of emergency. So we don't want that. We want that removed. Almost $3 million there. We need that here. Invest that money here. Just like all the city's public buildings. No, there are public buildings in the Superfund side. We agree in getting those fixed. The water lines and all that. But outside of the Superfund side, no, invest that money here. So we answered, okay, back from the community advisory group, we answered back on that. So we're waiting on response from that. So since he gave an extension on it, I believe we're supposed to have an answer back by the 9th. But we do know IDEM is supposed to step in, which is Indiana Department of Environmental Management. When they're going to step in, we don't know. But until then, we're doing it. But they're supposed to step in giving water filters. So
they're supposed to step in.
Yeah.
And
so that's a plus. That is a plus. That was part of it. So we have made
progress.
a huge impact. We, the residents, have done it. Because we're the ones who pushed the declaration, the state of emergency. We're the ones who pushed the pilot program with EPA. Because we're the ones that rised up. We're the ones that started calling Governor Pence, the residents.
And the governor who didn't visit.
That's Governor Pence, yeah.
How did that make you feel? The governor that's supposed to represent you and your views as a community, as a state, what does that make you feel about his position?
As his position as vice president,
Or his position at the time as the governor?
to me, as far as I'm concerned, he was a lame duck because he never came down before anyways. He wasn't the first governor that ever ignored us. This northern part of Indiana has always been Democrat. There's very few Republican governors that ever have came up here that I recall in my life, and they have only been, that I know of, now I'm going to be 54 years old, has been Mitch Daniels, and now Governor Holcomb.
What would you say to Governor Holcomb?
I've already told him thank you very much, and I've had the pleasure of hugging him because when he came up on February 19th, he did request some of the residents from the CAC to be there, and I did go, and I had the opportunity. And he did promise, and his spirit showed that he's here to help us, and my understanding is that he was up here with the staff. It'll be 2 weeks this coming Friday, so he's definitely coming up here. There's very few, and he was up here in October. So he's a different breed. He's about the people. He's about the people. And I'm not the type of person that, as a resident, that relays anything towards politics or nothing. I look at every situation as to what it is. And this has nothing to do, our livelihoods has nothing to do about party lines or whatsoever.
No.
Has to do with the individual who's in the position and what they're doing. What I have seen as a resident that lives here, he has really paid close attention and is listening to us. So I applaud him for that. What the other one did, like I said in the beginning, I can't go back and fix it.
No.
I'm not bewitched that could twinkle my nose and fix it back then. So why should I worry about back then and waste that energy about back then? I'm going to work with those that are willing to help us and use my energy into something positive. That means pick up a phone and speak with them, then use my energy and invert it into that, but not on something negative. And that's true, and I think maybe that's what causes the differential of our mindset thinking. Because like I said, a lot of people look at me and they're like, well, she doesn't look sick. You know, don't judge a book by its cover. They just don't know. But they also don't understand how much I value every second of my life. They also don't know what it is to be laying in bed and be choking and not know why. And what's saving you is your service dogs and not having no family member. Or your heart stopping and having your little red dog giving you CPR. You learn to value every moment and love every person you have in your life. And when you go, you just want to go in peace. And you have no regrets. So, where there's a lot of people who just want to rely on anger, and sometimes life makes people mature a lot faster. So I learned what a lot of elders told me from before, at a very young age. So I value and I try to be as happy as I can and love everybody I can. And enjoy them as much as I can and just enjoy life. Because I know I'm going to another place, a better place, but I gotta enjoy this place where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And make the best of it. But I'm not gonna let it control me. 81 families. Section that they do. They need to quit turning a blind side. They have been notified. They need to open, if they are already signed up and have available housing, available apartments, especially 3 bedrooms that meet Section 8, because due to the emergency of the residents in West Calumet, they all received Section 8 vouchers. A lot of them there are on Social Security, just as I. They're paid more than what I pay in mortgage for rent. They don't really receive no benefits. But because they're receiving Section 8 vouchers, they have to go through the Section 8 process. And right now we have 81 families there. They all have to pass the background checks and everything like that. So we're asking anybody within Hammond, Munster, Griffith, Dyer, please open up your doors. If you have an available thing that meets, open up your doors and allow them, because they do not deserve, nobody deserves the right to be forced relocated like it's happening right now to Illinois, to Ardell Gardens, I believe, that is in an unsafe area right now, that these children are being pulled out of their school, their education's being affected. A lot of them have IPIs, which means they're in special education. Please have a heart, support. We need your help here. Anything that we do, we need you to please come help us. We just ask, put yourself in the same predicament. No one deserves to be forced relocated. Oh, and we're doing a campaign. Look for it on Facebook. We have a listing from Ben Carson going all the way to Tia Colley at the housing department, through HUD. Contact them, call them, email them, fax them. If you know how to do Twitter, that I don't know how to do. Twitter them and tell them to stop the forced relocation of the families in West Calumet. We're trying to blast them out completely, because they plan on packing them up the week of the, actually this weekend on the 1st, and getting them out of there. So we need all the help to prevent this happening. No one deserves to be treated unjust and immorally. Thank you.
What we need more volunteers so we can move this water faster so that the filters, once they come in, then we'll be done with the water, you know, and everybody will have filters, and then we'll be, you know, it's a start.
Today for you, tomorrow possibly for me.